The Clashing Conferences Podcast. Let's go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Clashing Conferences Podcast, the sports fan network for the fans. I know we're going to have a great show today. Before we get started, I just want to throw a few pieces of production notes out there. As of October 1st, we're going to have an audience link coming up. So be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned for more on this and how you can get access. We're also looking for more to join our roster. It is increasing. I hear we got a couple new faces that Steven is talking to behind the scenes, and we are definitely looking to get new shows started, but we are still looking for new people, whether you're a solo act or whether you got a group of friends and you want to come on and try to do this the same way this group of friends here is doing it. So, we got a lot of different ways. Just reach out to our producer. There's a sign-up form on our website, theclashingconferences.com, and we'll talk to you about getting started. Now,
you don't even have to be friends, because I am not friends with Chris. But can you go over that line again? Where
nice.
You said it was a sports network for fans. Is
it's
that what
a
you said?
sports fan network.
That's
yes.
what sports fan. Okay.
Yes, that is what we're going for. That's what I'm told that we want to promote ourselves as. We are a sports fan network. Are you not a sports fan, Paul?
No, I'm saying I liked it. I saw Greg perk up when he heard it.
Oh
too.
no,
Yeah,
he normally wants to lose, but he got a little winning in him, so now he's feeling pretty
Lord.
good. He was actually nice to me. Like after the game, we were like having a real conversation. I said, "Man, I'm gonna get along with Paul this week. I'm excited."
That was the adrenaline. It wore off.
Like
32 minutes after that.
32. All right.
32.
Well, we had a heck of a week too here. We had Philly on Monday Night Football go down to Atlanta 21-22. We had
Dirty
Dallas.
Birds.
We had Dallas lose a big one to New Orleans 19-44.
They didn't show up like Randy tonight.
In the NFC East game of the week, we had
Good
Washington getting a big win 21-18 over the G-Men. In our internal competition, longest touchdown, we had Dallas and Randy get a point with a 65-yard touchdown by CeeDee Lamb. We had most touchdowns go to the G-Men, surprisingly, in that loss. Put up 3 touchdowns, the most touchdowns of any team in the conference this week. And rush yards, as your host predicted, and mostly by everybody but Greg got mocked for it, Washington put up a massive 215 rush yards against the Giants. That gives us, for the season, we have Greg at 3 points in our internal competition. Greg and the Eagles. Randy and the Cowboys are at 3 points. Chris, Topher Pete, and the Giants are at 1 point. Paul and the Commanders are at 1 point. It's a long season. We got a long way to go. But that's where we are. Paul, you got a point this week. You got your first point this week. You had not only a big win, but you had the only win. Greg and the Eagles went down to the Falcons. I'm surprised that we're not getting a Kirk Cousins appearance here.
I am too.
Tell us about how your week went. You had a good one.
Yeah, it's a good thing a win is a win, because on the field, we weren't completely winning the whole time. I mean, we immediately gained an advantage on the kickoff from the game. I will note that I don't think a kicker or a referee should ever decide a game. I am completely fine if, for some reason, everything always works out where it was never a call. Or
can I real quick go on a quick rant? Chris, I said this to Chris earlier today. Why don't kickers very important? I mean,
Absolutely.
It gets mocked. I mean,
Absolutely.
People mock it in fantasy and all that stuff, but kicker is very important to real life football. These guys you have like 50, how many players on the team on the field every week? 50-some? 53 super athletes. You're telling me not one of these guys can kick a short field goal? I could kick a 35-yarder when I was in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
These
Like it.
guys are much better athletes than I was in the 8th grade. Why don't we? And every team
How
has
can't the punter do
emergency quarterback.
That
They
should
train
be
a
like
wide
no
receiver
doubt about it.
or a running back to be an emergency quarterback. Why are all these teams not training someone to kick an extra point? This is ridiculous. You guys lost that game yesterday because there was nobody kick an extra point. I'm sorry,
Exactly.
Paul. I need to get that out of me. That's
Well, I mean,
NFL
what did I just say?
teams
why
need
do-
to teams need to look into that.
I think you almost cursed right there. You wanted to.
I think it's a coach thing because from what I heard, you guys got a punter
Yes.
by the name of the Scottish Hammer
Yeah, that's his
who can
nickname.
boot the ball
I
and
thought the same thing.
and apparently just missed the extra point. So I almost, from what I'm hearing, Dable's getting a lot of heat for not trying it the second time.
I don't
Well,
know.
I
I
think-
think
Who
I think
kicked the ball off?
I think
Who kicked the ball off when you scored the touchdowns? The
that's
Hammer,
who-
right?
The Hammer
Yeah.
does kick the ball off, but that's not what he does. It's like Mike said, it don't make any sense to me. And I was thinking as good as a kicker as he is and how hard he can kick a ball, I thought for sure he would make an extra point. Like, are you serious? I understood the field goals. I understand a 40-yard field goal, 35, 50. Extra point? Yeah, it's stupid.
They should have kept him on the field during halftime and said, "Here's a
Figure it
couple.
out.
Let's see what you can do from the 20-yard line, the 25-yard, and the 30-yard line."
The only
And
thing I
should
can
at
think
least-
is, sorry, Paul. The only thing I can think is they've already seen him do it enough in practice, and they know he can't do it. I don't know. There's no other excuse, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's also, like, to Mike's point, you had 53 guys. There's no chance you ever have any kind of game plan where you would ever utilize 53 people.
Oh, I was arguing with people about it. Do you guys have a backup kicker? Like,
I think the question is not,
No, just
The
somebody
backup
who's
kicker.
capable.
but the fact is, apparently he was hurt and practiced last week and complained about a hamstring injury.
nah, see, I
that's
thought
not
that
good.
too. Last year it was the same thing, and that's what I've been hearing. I didn't hear nothing about like him getting flack for not trying another extra point. I heard that earlier in the week he was complaining about his injury from last year bothering him, but then when he was asked about it on Friday, he said Gano's good. He didn't even
that's what-
entertain it.
I heard that
So he's
same
catching
thing. And
flack
that's
for
why
that,
they were,
so.
they were riding Dable. Like, listen,
Yep.
if you know he's injured, why even bring him to Washington? Sign somebody else. Like, do what
we
you got to
signed
do.
two-
Sign a second.
I think we
Yeah,
signed
sign
two
a second.
kickers this week.
I
I
didn't mean to make this a kicker segment. Let's
Right,
let Paul
sorry.
get back in here.
Yep, absolutely, Paul.
Well, we probably wouldn't be talking about this if they made at least two out of three of the 2-point conversions too.
Well, Darius Slayton
again-
dropped the one.
Yeah, I mean, the game would have been completely different if even just one of those. We got completely lucky to have a kicker that has never kicked for us ever. He's not new to football, to the NFL, but he's new to us as of like 4 days before that, and kicked freaking 7 of them. None of them were over, like, he didn't kick any massive kicks, but I mean, some of them were in the 40s, I think, but I can't remember. It had to be. It's freaking 7 of them. That's dumb. But no, that was.
He only had to miss one.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was actually kind of like a monumental win because of all the things that were stacked against us to do that. I mean, I thought there were a lot of improvements from week 1, too. Jaden Daniels ran half as many times and was just as effective. So instead of 16 runs, it was 8. And like Caleb Williams' stats, he was not getting the same kind of pressure. The run game, it was the first thing that I ever said last year was if you can run the ball, it opens up the passing game. That last drive, we just went right down the field like one of the GOAT quarterbacks, like how they do if you leave them 2 minutes. Just the dink and dunk passes right over the middle, just chunk plays for 10 and 12 yards. You do it 3 or 4 times, and all of a sudden you're in the red zone. We had the worst red zone offense I have ever seen in my life. Got down inside the 10 even at least 3 or 4 times and could get nothing but a field goal. No turnovers again. So Jaden Daniels has gone 2 weeks without a turnover.
I thought our defense played really well in the red zone, but I do think you kept shooting yourself in the foot. I felt like every time you got to like the 5, it would be like 3rd and 1, and then you'd get a false start. It was
the O-line, the penalties was unbelievable. I mean, it was almost like clockwork by the 3rd time. I'm like, well, who's going to be the idiot this time? And there was every single
It looked
time.
like a Bobby Johnson coached offensive line.
Like it
By
was
far.
it was driving me nuts, and that's why at the end of the game I was like, I think I was in shock that we had still won. It was ridiculous. I just couldn't even believe it because there were so many reasons why we were not supposed to win that game, and we absolutely did. Obviously, that's karma taking care of Daniel Jones for you because he actually didn't play completely terrible whatsoever.
No.
He looked like an NFL quarterback out there.
I agree.
I thought he
But
played well, man.
I think that he's still going to get benched this year at some point. And I think even if he has some good games, and I'm not saying at this point, I'm not saying it because Daniel Jones is a bum. He is a bum. He'll always be a bum. He'll die a bum. But
He's not
even
a
if
bum,
he's
buddy.
even if he's like 4-6 to start,
Hey, I'm
you know,
going to actually compliment your quarterback. Stop.
Don't care, don't need it because we had enough people doing that. I don't need your trying.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even attempt to
Hey.
pass downfield or anything, so we don't even know if he can do that yet in the NFL. But other than
We'll
that,
be there.
So
Here,
go ahead.
we'll be done with our game because again, it wasn't exactly a
Mine's
highlight
gonna be quick. We got to get to the
weekend.
main
Yeah,
attraction.
that's what she said. Yeah. So
Paul, when you're done, I got one more thing before we go to Chris. Go ahead, though.
absolutely. Yeah, and so I'm glad that Randy decided to hop in at an opportune time here.
Look, the Cowboys showed up finally.
Sunny South Florida, baby.
Good gosh. Yeah. Get some sun on those chins there, buddy. That game that you had after all that hype, after all that. So pull one of the Chris questions. So do you guys think the Falcons are a better team than the Saints? All this stuff with the lines and all that. Oh my gosh, that line could have been 30 and it wouldn't have freaking mattered.
Randy, you want to remind Paul that he picked Dallas to win by 6.5?
I mean, the way I'm looking at it,
So did everybody.
Chris and I split the picks this week. I picked the Eagles to lose, and I picked. I guess me and Chris both have one win. I guess it would be, but everybody picked the Eagles to win besides me, and everybody picked Dallas to win. So in the end, the Eagles lost. Greg, you picked who? Washington, or did you pick the Giants?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I don't either. It was such a toss-up.
I should write
It
this
was.
down.
It literally was a toss-up. It came down to the last toss-up.
I picked
The whole
Washington. I picked Dallas. By the way, I picked Dallas minus 6.5, Washington minus 1.5, and the Eagles minus 6.5. So if you really wanted to count,
right.
I got 2 games right.
You guys all had one game right. You guys all had, except for Paul. I don't know if Paul had any games right because I didn't actually get him. Did he?
Yeah, he said, and I quote, "I'm not giving the Giants and Daniel Jones a win this time."
Okay.
No, he said he wasn't going to allow me to say we were going to blow him out, and I did not say we were going to blow him out.
He said, "I actually don't think we're going to." He said, that was me.
I'll relook at the tape. I didn't write it down at least, and I either missed it. Well, no, I'm sorry. He did say that. I'm looking at Chris's. I don't know that you're right. You're right. Paul did get one right.
So we
I
all
don't know
got
that
one pick
Chris
right.
didn't get one right this week.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Chris is I was looking at my notes wrong.
How am I wrong, though?
No, we all got one
all right,
right.
Guys, we're not going to have a lot of time. Let's not argue about the picks.
Before we go on to Chris, I would just want to say, you guys know I'm always keeping receipts, but this week we had a fan keeping receipts. On Instagram, I think it was Chris. I think it was a friend of yours, Humble.
Yeah.
What's his first name? I forgot it.
Josh
Humble pointed out that Paul keeps saying that and because you've reminded me because you just said it again. Jaden Daniels doesn't turn the ball over. Well, he did fumble 3 times in that week 1 game. I mean, he didn't lose them, but he got lucky to drop the ball on the ground 3 times and not give him up. So it's not a turnover, but
he did fumble the ball.
You better be careful.
Hey, Mike, that's just a kind of a fake. You just drop the ball and pick it up.
Trying to get some extra yards out there instead of a dead play.
Coming from a team that has a quarterback that sometimes fumbles himself, I'm gonna ride with Paul there. He didn't lose the ball. It's not a turnover.
Okay.
No, and when I'm looking at turnovers, what I'm expecting from a rookie quarterback is interceptions. Like there wasn't any dumb plays. If there was a dumb play, it would have been holding the ball too long and running at the defense. We need to work on that a little bit. Need to slide instead of head first. Need to go down to the legs. Step out.
I thought he ran well.
He did.
And he had to. Like, he didn't have a choice. Like, he got sacked like 6 times. He got pressured a lot. And He was sneaky. I still don't know how McFadden didn't get him.
Sneaky.
Do you remember that play, Paul? Like he just shot right up the middle, and like he should have crushed him, and he just like flew right over top of him.
Well, that's what happens if you're going. I mean, if you're going 100 miles an hour, all you do is a sidestep right before he gets there, and it's going to blow by. You can't go east to west like that quick with somebody like that.
You should have just killed him.
Okay.
I thought the Giants.
There it is, killing off players.
You should have just laid him off, man. But anyway,
again.
the Giants. I was disappointed, obviously, but our defense played terrible. Like our Bowen's supposed to be known for stopping the run, and it's terrible. Now we have like one of the youngest teams in the league. I mean, Brian Burns is 28, but everybody else we're playing second, first. Guys are 22, 23, 20. All of our guys are young. It's going to take a little while. We have a good pass rush. I did like the fact that we were bending, but we weren't breaking. I think throughout the season that's going to get better. Ryan Clark was talking big about Drew Phillips. I think he looks good. I like Tyler Nubin. Dane Belton's young, Flott, Peanut. We're going to be good. It's just going to take a little while.
Anybody else on this podcast
Never give up.
ever heard of any of those players?
Well, you will.
Well,
you will.
Peanut.
But anyway, what I'm saying is I think as the season goes on, the defense will gel, get a little better. Offense played well, man. Like DJ played well. There was a lot of drops, ton of drops, including the big drop. Awful. I can't believe Neighbors dropped that, man. It was like 4th and 3. It's kind of like the Saquon blowing the game thing. Like
I can't believe we didn't double team him more. Like it's going. He had like 30 targets and caught like 16 balls and dropped the one that mattered.
Man,
the most.
he leads. He's second in the NFL in receptions. He's 4th in the NFL in yards right now. He's a superstar, guys.
He's going to be
no doubt about it.
Good.
No doubt.
They never get a quarterback to throw the ball.
They got a quarterback, and they're only going to get better, and they're gelling, man. They're finally. DJ was shook week 1. Everybody's saying Minnesota's defense is real deal. People were Joe was texting me last week. He was like, "Dude, we can't do anything. This defense is disgusting. The scheme is just ridiculous." It was a very bad
Cleveland. That should be fun.
Hey, I got a question for you. When you go to bed at night, do you and Joe do this FaceTime thing where you go to sleep and you're still FaceTiming? Where you're looking at each other as you go to sleep? I feel like you and Joe made.
You talking about Joe from San Francisco?
Absolutely.
I talked to Joe, man. Joe's cool.
I'm
That's my
sure
boy.
you do. Like, yeah, I'm sure you lay on your pillows and just
and
drop
he
the phone
is
out.
itching to get on. He's itching to get on and go out, you guys. So we gotta get him on here soon.
Well,
What's up,
I think
Greg?
the thing is, give Joe a couple years, and then he'll maybe get tired of the every year rhetoric that it's like, oh, we're gonna be great, we're gonna be awesome, we're the best, we're going to the Super Bowl, and then by the way, 5, you fizzle out.
Speaking of that, who called out the San Francisco 49ers not being the team they were last year?
I had that highlighted, actually, Randy.
That.
You said it 2 weeks ago. You said San Fran's on a decline. I did have that noted.
Mm-hmm. We know the whole deal with the Giants game. I really think they should have won the game. The defense played terrible. I have nothing bad to say against Washington. I think Daniels is going to be a really good quarterback. He has control. He didn't have to throw the ball downfield. It was a good game plan. It drove me nuts, man. It'd be like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and they keep doing that little screen route.
I mean, if it
5, 6 yards off. Like, why are they all standing off that far? Like, I don't understand the game plan on defense. Paul, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, that's those open it up the middle. So all you need is like an 8-yard pass that they can run on 2 or 3 yards of yak on top of that. Do it just all the time because it was so wide open. It was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
So you don't need to throw 30 yards if you could just chunk it down the field.
I think as this defense gets few more games under their belt, they'll get a little better. They did play well once the field shrank. They got inside the red zone. They did play better. That gives me confidence throughout the season. Daniel Jones did play good, man. He didn't play fantastic. The game plan was a little soft in my opinion too. They don't get Hyatt involved. They don't get Slayton involved. They are going to Neighbors nonstop. Like,
how's that going to affect the other receivers? You know, it didn't take long for AJ Brown on the Eagles to get all
these guys ain't like that. Our guys are all young. They're all like Wandell.
Not good. Not good. That's
Hyatt.
No,
Hyatt's not showing up.
The rest of us were looking for not good.
They're not superstars. Yeah, they're not divas like Brown.
They're not stars.
But your receiver room,
the intervention didn't work at all.
Yeah, your receiver room's better than anyone here on the podcast. You said.
Oh, I like our wide receiver room. I do. I think it's just going to take a little time. But anyway,
last week after the intervention, Chris said, if we don't win this week versus Washington, there's not
tell
a
you
lot of
what.
other games they can win. Maybe
And I have-
Carolina.
This is the
And
best
now we're
spin
coming
on a
in.
loss.
He's like all optimistic and I
Because
feel
of
like
the way
you're
we
more
lost and the way it
optimistic
went.
after being 0
I'm
2
feeling-
than
And I'm
you
the-
were
I
am.
after
And
0
we're only
1.
one
How do
game
you get
out.
more optimistic?
And
We're
I
only
wouldn't
one
be-
game out, and DJ looked a lot better. Like he
But
did.
You lost to the Commanders.
Cleveland the Commanders might be better than what you think, man.
Yeah,
Daniels
you said
looks
that-
way better
you
than
said
your
that
number one
last year,
pick
too.
overall.
That's not what you said last week, Chris.
No,
You said that
And
last year too.
Now hold on,
We
though. I didn't
sucked.
say a bad. Me and Paul had almost pretty much the same take on them last week. We
Yeah.
both were agreeing after the game. I think we both got a good young team. Your
No.
two teams are the ones with the problems right now. You stunk, and you look just as bad. You're 2-7 to me, dude. You ended the season 1-6 last year.
I will trade
You're 2-7.
rosters
You're
with the
still
Eagles
struggling.
in Dallas today.
Yeah, they got a head kick. They got
Today.
I don't think the Eagles are going to make the playoffs this year, man. I don't.
That's
Well,
I don't.
like you
Who's
said, every
gonna make
man's
it in the
entitled to
division?
an opinion.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's
Hey.
got to make it in the division.
A couple years ago, 3 of us did. You never know what could happen.
But
You
now
never
you're
know.
saying nobody's going to make it unless you're
No.
saying the Giants are coming back from 0 2.
I think we still can make the playoffs.
All right, here we go. All right, 2
Oh,
weeks are done.
my
So
I like,
God.
I like to.
Let's,
I like
let's,
to
think we
let's
text.
can.
move on to Greg. We're starting
and that's
to
going to be
cut
great
on
at the
time
end of
here
the year.
anyway. But
Well,
Chris
here,
got all his dumb
We're
shit
one
out.
games out, man, and we play everybody. What are you talking about? We should have won
Last
that
week
game.
you were ready to give up. Last
might
week
whoop
you were
both
ready
of
to
them
give
4
up. You were
times.
like 3 weeks of DJ and he's out of there. And
What,
and,
Greg?
And the
Hold up.
Giants might not win another game all
Last
year.
year
if
I
they
got
don't
laughed
beat
at when Bobby
Washington,
was. Hold
and
on,
now
hold
you're
on.
making the playoffs even though you lost.
I
Yep.
still. We're
It's Chris.
0-2.
It's Chris. That's the only
Hold
explanation
up.
we need
When
to
there a
give.
team last year?
It's
When there a
Chris.
team?
That's all
Somebody
my
remind me of
receipts.
this. Last year, when there a team last year to start out like 0-2, 0-3, and end up winning like 6 or 7
It
games
wasn't
straight?
the Giants.
It doesn't
They were-
matter.
If it was a better team than Giants. It was a
it
team that
only
had way more
happens-
talent than the Giants do.
It's
It
too
only
early
happens
to make them
11% of the time.
accusations.
Thank you,
But
Paul. Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. I saw the stat
11%.
today on
Yep.
ESPN.
I did too.
you know the New York
I-
Giants started out 0-2 and still won the Super Bowl one time? That happened.
That was the started 2 and
Oh.
went 0-2 and went to
And
the
I'm not
playoffs.
saying I'm not
and
saying we're
that
going to
plant-
Super Bowl, but I'm saying we can still make the playoffs. It's too early.
And unfortunately, that planted a
Mathematically,
seed-
you're correct.
that
Logically, you were not.
planted a
started the
seed in
season
you,
10-1.
Chris.
We could win the next 5 games.
Unfortunately,
Why couldn't we?
Chris, that planted a
You're-
seed in you that just will not die.
All right,
Start
let's just see what
0-2
happens.
and make it win the playoffs.
We'll next segment we'll go in and tell you why at Seattle, at Cleveland, at Pittsburgh. There's
We don't play
3
Seattle.
reasons.
This was
why
your
you're not
chance
gonna
to win a
your
game
next-
or two, and you failed.
All
And
right.
you lost 2. All right, so I'm gonna go
Just
into
like
the
last
birds.
year when we weren't going to beat the Eagles at all, but we whooped your ass the last
Oh
game
my
of the
gosh,
season.
it
when
didn't
you
Your,
beat
matter
your
the
back
points
then.
are out.
All right.
Yep.
I'm gonna get Matt's buzzer.
Yeah,
That was never
I'm
going to happen,
upset.
though.
Obviously, I'm upset. Chris won't stop talking, and I'm upset from the Monday night debacle. We had the game. We had the game won, and we blew it.
Greg, I
And
hate to
we
say
did.
it, but your quote of the week was last week.
We're gonna
I had
win by
this
10.
highlighted. No, this
Yeah.
was your quote of the week.
Without
Tune in
Brown.
next week because someone's gonna be upset. And now you're
And it's
coming
me.
on right away. You're like, I'm upset.
I'm upset. I'm pissed. Yeah, I
It's
think.
because you got that dirty New Yorker on your team.
Oh God, you know what? I took a step back. I've been
Jalen Brunson
through.
jinxed him.
Yeah, I've been through all of these emotions, and I've been through blame game here and there. And I will say, since Monday, we're recording on Wednesday, but since Monday, I've kind of taken a step back and have changed my opinion and my stance a little bit. I will say I felt like we were the better team. I felt like in the first quarter, when you're driving the ball down, you always got to kick the points. You can't go for it on 4th and 4 at 0-0 game in the first quarter. You got to kick the points. You got to go for 3. That's just my opinion. That's just my philosophy, how I feel. Maybe that's why I only coached Pee Wee football and didn't make it any further.
But Greg, the one thing that has worked so well for the Eagles over the past 2 years, and you watch
Agreed.
them, it's like I've said at some point this going for it, never kicking a field goal, 4th and 1, we're going to go for the first down.
Dude, you always go
Every-
for it.
Every time, at some point, it's great. It looks so good when it works, but when it doesn't work, you look like an idiot.
4th and 1 is different to me than 4th and 4,
Yeah, but you
especially
do that
early
too,
in a
really.
game. Especially early in a game. And I think
Sure.
what happened was, obviously our defense didn't show up. Our defensive line is atrocious. I was talking to you guys before we even got on the podcast today. 0 pressures. Mike, care to tell me how many Caleb Williams had this week?
Like 30.
30. Okay. We are paying Bryce Huff. The contract is a $50 million contract. He has one half tackle all year. Didn't show up. We had Milton had the only sack of the game. We had Devin White was a scratch again, making $7 million a year is a healthy scratch. We have problems getting pressure on from our D line and our linebackers. Braun is a beast. We got some
trade for Hassan
cornerbacks.
Reddick.
Yeah. No, we said that at the game. We said,
They might.
Howie, pick up the phone, Howie, and just say, listen, we made a mistake. Let's just do a little trade back and just make this happen. It's sad when the only person getting push is Brandon Graham, who's your oldest defensive lineman.
100.
Yeah, I mean, I get frustrated. We're sold
Your
all
age,
of this. Yeah, we're sold all this Georgia stuff, Georgia this. At this point, I don't care where you're from. You need a motor, and you need to be able to. I mean, we're getting Nolan Smith just got absolutely blown up by the tight ends. Kyle Pitts just put him on his ass. It was sad. It was really bad. And other than the defensive line not getting any pressure, towards the end of the game, we had a chance to win the game, and that's what frustrates me the most. I was upset about Barkley when it happened. I was more mad at Nick Sirianni or more whoever's calling the plays, which we don't know.
You can't put it in the air right there. You can't.
So, and that's what frustrates me. But what I did was, from our seats,
It's wide open.
It's awesome. Yeah, he was wide open, so I can't fault him for that. But with our seats,
I told you he leads the NFL in drops as a running back in the last 4 or 5 years.
He's got 16 drops in 4 years as a running back.
More than anybody else.
No, Chris, his numbers are like
more than anybody else.
As a running back, yes, he's not a great pass catching running back. But are you telling me that's why you guys let him go because he didn't catch passes?
No, we let him go
go have fun.
How many yards you have? 75 yards, and you lost, and he lost the game. He dropped the ball. Yeah, go ahead.
He had 100 yards rushing.
He did not.
No, but my point is,
what is this BDE that Chris has all of a sudden?
He doesn't have a loss. Mike, did he have 100 yards?
Loss.
He had 97 yards rushing and 4 catches for 40 yards or something like that.
And a big drop.
And a drop, yeah. But listen, I did the all 22 view or the best I could do, and I looked at it, and there was a play that happened right before that play. And I'm going to call out our left side of our offensive line. We ran up to the ball with 7 seconds left on the play clock, and we're going up quick. We got to snap it really quick. And Dallas Goedert moves from left to right, and we do a hard count. That DN on Atlanta comes across. Dickerson and Mulatto, neither of them jumped. If either of them would have jumped, game over in the neutral zone, we win, automatic first down. And that's why Nick Sirianni was pissed, because that's what he told them to do, the hard count, and they didn't listen. We had 9 damn penalties. 9. You can't do that and expect to win games. And it's just so frustrating. So then in the timeout, Nick Moore or Kellen Moore, whoever it was, had a great play call. I wouldn't have called it. It's third and 4 from our 10. I would have ran the ball twice.
Yes.
Keep in mind, Atlanta had 0 timeouts, and it's 1 minute and 46 seconds. You run the ball up the middle with Barkley right there. You are wasting 45, 50 seconds. So now you're under a minute, and it's 4th down. You may have got the first down there, but if it's 4th and 1, you do the tush push, you end the game. That's where I'm pissed off at.
Yeah, I don't think it should have gone in the air at all. You've got enough where you can
You
get 4 yards.
But even
if you turn it over right there, you're still going to take 70 seconds off.
Yeah, and you're up 3, so you're forcing them. But and that was my thing that just really frustrated me, and that's what I'm landing on today.
Who called the play? Kellen Moore?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Play caller, right? And I don't think Sirianni.
He is the play caller, but who knows?
Man, you guys got a problem.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a problem or not, but it's frustrating is what it is.
Well, and there's a history to all of this too, Greg, and a history to all of this is again, I feel like it's the same problem you guys had last year. Is you were the better team. There's no one that watched that
I've been
says
telling
you
you,
weren't
Matt,
the
for
better
like a
team.
year now.
But you guys are not putting people away. Again, this
No,
is a
we're not.
continuation. And it's like, you're right. They should have ran the ball. You're right. They should have got the defensive offsides, whatever you call it. You're right. They should have done all of that. But yet it's like the Eagles just cannot seem, and it seems to come from coaching, just get out of their own way and actually go dominate, play ground ball. And it goes back to pound a rock and win the game. They got Saquon Barkley, arguably one of the best running backs in the league.
Agreed.
And
But
they continue to say they're the same Eagles they've been for 4 years now. We're not going to run. We want to pass.
It's frustrating because he wants to be the smartest guy in the room.
Mhm.
And at some point, you don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. And I think the biggest takeaway and the frustration out of all of this was we still had a chance to win the game after all of that, and letting Kirk Cousins come down with a bum leg, getting no pressure, score a touchdown. You had 46 seconds left, and you had two really good plays. You had 40 seconds left, and you're at midfield or close to midfield. You needed 15 yards to give our kicker a shot to win the game, and you throw this out under pressure. You don't need to be a hero. Now, I will say this. At the end of the game, apparently in the locker room, Barkley took accountability, Slay took accountability, and Jalen Hurts came in while Nick was doing a speech, said, Nick, stop. This is on me. I'm taking this conversation over. And Hurts stood up and did the rah-rah speech. If that is true, I am happy for that, and we'll see how next week goes. But if we get our asses whooped next week, I'm mad. I'm not happy.
I had two comments I was going to say, and maybe now just one, because you said that
we got to be quick here
about Jalen Hurts. Is, I think if you would call timeout, you go over to the side of the field, you go over the sideline, and you could talk the coach. No, but I'm talking like coach to quarterback and kind of have a powwow like Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes would. Because of their relationship, you can't do that. Now, if what you just said is true, maybe that can happen. The other thing is, I actually think on fourth down, if you didn't convert on third, I think you actually go for it, because if you don't,
I agree.
If you don't get it, that means you're up by 3. They're not playing for a touchdown. They're playing for a field goal. You kick that field goal, they're going 100% for a touchdown, which means you will lose.
100% agree with you. And I'm assuming Jeffrey Lurie is already made that clear. That's what they need to do moving forward and stop trying to be the smartest guy.
They would have played for the tie. The Falcons would have played for the tie. Absolutely.
All right, let's get Randy in here to close it
out.
out.
All right, Randy.
End us out on some dumb shit.
Well, fellas, again, it was crazy as I'm watching every newscast pick Dallas to win. Every single one star. We all picked Dallas.
Who picked the Saints?
No one.
Oh,
I think Mike did. In our text Sunday morning.
Oh, you're right, Mike. Put your hand down. Put your hand down.
Oh, Mike had some good picks again last week.
Hey, listen, you're supposed to be the moderator, not the picker. Put your hand down. No. So all I'm saying, it is crazy, because I was like, man, everybody is picking Dallas, and Dallas did what Dallas sometimes does. The first 2 weeks of last year, we came in, blew teams out, and then we had games that we lost against teams we should have won.
Cardinals.
There you go. And it's like, what in the world? I still think Dallas is a good team. I think New Orleans is showing they're a very good team. I think you play them soon, Greg. It's gonna be a good game
this week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's this week. Okay. In the end of it, I mean, Dallas looked like they could not convert third downs. They looked like they could not make things happen in the red zone. Aubrey has always had a great game. That's not a good sign. It's frustrating, but it kind of felt like it was inevitable, really, from the start. It just felt like every time. I mean, we couldn't get pressure. That Dallas defense couldn't do anything. I mean, Parsons was absolutely kept completely quiet, and all of a sudden, Alvin Kamara looks like he's 21 years old again. It was unbelievable.
His touchdowns were so long, though, that means your line didn't do anything.
No,
your
nothing.
secondary and anybody behind. Like no one had anything.
They were showing the one run where he had like whatever it was, a 60-yard run.
57.
He didn't get touched a single time, not once. Like a running back not getting touched out of, I think there was a screen pass, out of a screen pass. He didn't get touched a single time. And that is
screen pass makes it even worse. That means that there was
exactly
time to
right.
react to it.
That's exactly right.
Run.
It's like, it seemed like everything was out of sync. And, Dallas has these games that obviously it's what worries us all about playoffs. I mean, it's probably your guys' all delight, but what worries me about playoffs is in the end of it, we have these games also in the playoffs that we should do well in, but we just don't.
But it's okay because Jerry explained it today.
Yes, he did.
Jerry explained it today. He said, look at it this way. We're just getting our bad games out of the way early in the year instead of the playoffs.
But you always find a way to keep one in your back pocket when you need
it. He said we blow teams out and then we don't face much adversity and then we're not ready. He said it's good to face a little adversity during the season to get you ready for the playoffs. That's
my problem is that didn't really
good.
count out last year. Again, it was a very similar circumstance against Arizona. But I still think we're a good team. I still think, honestly, I think we're the team to beat in the NFC. I know, Greg, you would say otherwise, but I still think that we have the talent to beat. I still feel like
we both got tough games this week.
Yeah.
You play the Browns, which have one of the best
D-lines. Maybe we should talk about
league.
that in the second segment then.
Let's get to it. We're running pretty long here. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in the second half to look at week 3.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Clashing Conferences podcast, where we will look forward to week 3. We're going to spin our wheel here in a second. Just a quick reminder, we got Greg and Randy both at 3 for the Eagles and the Cowboys. We got Chris and Paul both at 1 for the Commanders and the Giants. We're going to get 3 new categories here right now. Let's spin that first time to get our first category for the week for these 3 guys to root for.
Don't forget to like us and follow, guys, on your favorite platform.
Good job, Randy.
Longest touchdown again. Any single player? Are we going to get another CD Lamb? Randy, that was your one right prediction last week on CD Lamb. You going to pick him again?
Why would you pick anyone else?
No, that's a perfect response. QBR team total. Who wants to do the DJ joke?
Well, is Drew Lock playing?
Can I take Can I take Carr?
Yeah, you can take Carr.
Our last category. Receiving yards, single player. Are we going to get a CD double up?
Neighbors, baby.
We have a good shot. That's a good one, too. How long is AJ Brown out for, speaking of receiving yards?
Another week at least,
said another week, but from what I heard, he's not coming back till after the bye, which we have a week 5 bye. So he's going to miss the next 2.
I always hate those early buys. I hate them.
Saquon's due for an injury. Man, you guys are just... What happened to Lane Johnson? Didn't he get hurt too? Man, you guys are falling apart, man.
He did not get hurt.
Oh,
we don't know who's calling your plays.
3 new categories for the week. Let me run through the matchups and the lines here. We got the Giants going to Cleveland this week. The Giants are plus 6.5. A big number, Chris.
That is a big number.
We got Washington going to Cincinnati. Washington is getting 7.5.
That's a bigger number, Paul.
It is a bigger number, but
who are we playing?
Paul wasn't just talking crap on Cincinnati, so it's a little bit different. We got Philly. After Greg said after week 1, one of my other quotes for Greg from last week's episode, he said, "Are the Saints that good?" Did we find out last week?
Do we need another find out this week?
Do we need another week to find out, because the Philadelphia Eagles are going down to New Orleans, and the Philadelphia Eagles are getting 2.5 points on the road in that game. And
I think
then
it all
last but
depends.
not least, we got Dallas looking to make a comeback. You are at home and maybe one of the toughest matchups on paper, at least against the Ravens. You are getting 1 point. That should be a very good
At
game.
home.
So,
Mhm.
Randy, you came in last before. Why don't we lead off with you? Tell us you're going to beat the Ravens, bud.
Well, I will say I think we're going to beat the Ravens. I've for years thought they've overperformed, just like the Steelers. They're a boring team to watch, and I mean, I do think we're a better team than them. I think at home, in particular, we're going to beat them. No problem.
No
Eagles.
problem.
I
Wow.
don't think it will be a problem. I think it's going to be a good
Wow.
win. A bounce
Write that
back win.
down.
Eagles. I think that is going to be. I think that's going to be a good game. I think that the only thing missing AJ Brown, I think, is going to hurt your ability to stretch the field a little bit. But I think that could be a good game. But I think New Orleans, the way they're playing, they should win it. Chris, I think you're going to lose. Sorry, Cleveland. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Cleveland, but I got even less faith in you. So, or your team. I got all the faith in the world in you. You'll come around, buddy. Paul.
That's
Nice.
That was good. That was
Yes.
a good one, buddy.
That was
Man,
really
you're
good.
Paul, I'll tell you what. I actually have
Spit
a
it
little bit
out.
of faith. I have a little faith in Washington. I have a
Junior.
little faith. I got less faith in Cincinnati. They've struggled towards the end of last year. They've struggled all this year. I feel like they're in that what I'll call easy division. I really do feel like that is an overrated division. I feel like you're going to give them a run for your money. You'll at least cover the spread. That is my opinion on that.
Wow.
Yeah, longest touchdown receiving yards. AJ Brown's out. I know you got neighbors. I'm going to have to go with CD because I'm a Cowboys fan. I know you're not getting a QBR, so we'll go with Dak Prescott on that. I think that's my predictions.
I can tell you one thing: your takes are about as shaky as your jowls.
My jowls. Oh, isn't that cute?
So wait a
I
minute.
was-
What was the
Receiving,
All right.
it's
Yep, I
longest
got it. I
touchdown
got it.
receiving yards and QBR. Well, Paul, you seem like you're ready with some better picks than Randy's. What do you got for this week?
Hey, it's a real downer. I can tell you that. I got all four of our teams losing, and I got Dallas picking up all three categories.
Ooh,
Unfortunately.
that was you're a
I got
quick
the
picker
sweep.
this week.
I unfortunately, I'm not saying they're all blowouts or anything like that, but you're, Greg pointed at it. I don't think the Ravens are actually I think they're a fun team to watch. I mean, it's run and gun football. You would have thought that
Boring.
Steve Spurrier was out there coaching. It's ridiculous. But, I hate the Ravens. So I hope they lose. But you know what? I hate you just a little bit more. So, but I do think that they're going to win because they are mad. There's no reason that Ravens team, I don't care what three teams they played, should start the season 0-3. That's ridiculous. And I would love to see you start 1-2. So that's an easy one. Cleveland and the Giants, I think it'll be one of the worst games to watch. It's going to, like, if they could send this one to Germany over the Panthers game, I think they should.
No.
I don't think like Deshaun Watson
Watson's been bad.
Yeah, he's not. Nobody
He's
likes
been horrible.
Nobody likes him on Earth. Like nobody on the planet is a fan of Deshaun Watson. So I'm not even putting any stock into that game. The Eagles, I think you're going to go down, and I kind of need you to because I need Alvin Kamara for my fantasy team to repeat. On top of that, I think we're not going to win either. Monday Night Football. Thank God we've got it's a double header. Yeah, it's a double header. So
I didn't see that yet. That's awesome.
Yeah, who's the other one?
Bills, Jags.
Yeah, it's like
Really?
it's like a 7:30 and an 8:15.
Yeah,
I didn't even
Which
know
is
that.
which is better. I know that
That's
they're going on
awesome.
simultaneously, but I'm glad it's not like a 10 o'clock start for the second one,
Yes,
like on a Monday
agreed.
night. I do not need that messing up my week because
And I think the cool thing about both, one's on ABC and one's on ESPN, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
No streaming.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you,
definitely
NFL.
I'm definitely going to drag. Well, trust me,
They're finally giving back.
They are not. Please, the Thursday night games, the Fridays and the Saturdays that are going to be coming up.
It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. They're probably going to announce their own streaming service that they're going to like in mid-season. It's ridiculous.
But we love the NFL.
But I do think the Eagles are going to go down.
We'll all
I
pay
think
for it.
I think Chris is going to hit that voodoo doll, that Barkley voodoo doll again, and he's going to lose the game for him again. But I hope it's a high scoring game because I need
I
some
gotta remember
fantasy
that
points
one.
out of that team. So, did you see it
Yeah,
last time? Well, he literally sticks the pin in, and Barkley's like, ugh.
You should see him now. You should see him now. He has hands like feet. That's why he dropped that ball last week.
That's why we didn't sign him for $12 million a year.
It's not what I said.
But we offered him 11.
Hey, Singletary leads all running backs right now with breaking tackles. He's got 1 yard.
Does he lead them in touchdowns or yards?
He has to break the tackles.
Breaking tackles.
Terrible.
5.1 yards per carry.
You played the
What kind of
Commanders
stat
last
is
week,
that?
who were
We
by
played 2
far
weeks.
probably the worst defensive front seven in the entire NFL.
Paul, you're
not
gonna
going to play the
disrespect the team like
Commanders
that?
Paul say the same thing. He traded all his best players away last year from the defensive front.
All right.
Right, Paul?
Yeah.
Is he frozen?
Wait,
all right.
Paul. I like Singletary.
No,
He's
I
all
was-
right.
No, I mean, trust me, we lost all our
That's
good
the
players.
easiest
Categories last year.
running game you're going to have all year was against Washington this week.
All right, buddy. I think
How'd he
he'll
do
be a
week
good
one?
running back all year. I think he'll do good.
Did he do good week one?
He had a good week 1. He did have a good week.
What how many
I don't
yards did he
remember the
have?
stat line now, but he had a
I thought the
decent
whole
week.
committee had
No,
only
no.
45.
But the
That's
good
what I
thing
remember,
No, I mean, like-
Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Me
good
too.
No, I
thing
mean,
is, the
I thought
good
you were
thing
talking
is
about
he
the
was
yards per
able
carry.
to.
His yards per carry are up pretty good for the seasons right now. He's like
The
5.1.
the good thing
Again,
is though he
beating the
leads.
it's
the
inflated
good-
from last week.
We don't need
The good-
we don't need to have a running back by committee. Give
No,
me the
listen.
rock.
The good thing is he's leading the league in broke tackles, so it's
That
all
is good. He is.
You said you wanted a running back by
I'm just
committee.
talking trash. I like
Now you don't?
Singletary. No, I mean I like having. I want to use Tracy. I want to use him a lot.
So by the way, Singletary had 37 yards on 10 carries week one. So that's 3.7 yards.
I'm
a
saying he's
carry.
averaging 5.1 yards per carry right now. Is what
And
he's
how many
averaging.
yards did he have week two?
95
Put it this way,
and a touchdown
Saquon 95. You said
and a touchdown.
okay.
Yep.
Got
He
it.
averages 5 point. He averaged 5.9 yards a carry that game.
Against
That
Washington.
game
Yep.
against Washington. Okay,
Playing for the
All right.
Giants, and Barkley averaged like 2.9 when he played for the Giants.
Yeah,
Yep.
you yourself
not
said
wanna
it's a
hear
different
any
offensive
stats.
line.
I don't want to hear
I
any
just-
stats
I don't
from
And he
understand.
leads
all the
all
time.
running backs and drops in like the last 4 years.
But this is what I
Let's keep
don't
moving.
get. Like you won't let it go. Just let Barkley go. You
I am
keep
letting
bringing
him
him
go.
up.
I'm just calling out
You're
stats.
not.
You hate it. You get butthurt, and I love it. It bothers you. You
I
said that
get
stat don't
butthurt.
mean nothing. You said that stat don't mean
Broken
nothing.
tackles. Broken tackles
don't mean
means
nothing?
nothing.
Broken tackles don't mean nothing in the NFL. Okay.
But not when you're not scoring touchdowns. It doesn't.
No. I said that stat of him being like one of the worst running backs at catching the rock don't mean nothing. You said that's a hollow stat. I said it wasn't hollow the other night. You lost because of it.
The way that you phrased it, it is a hollow stat. He has he's got more passes than any one of them. He has one of the most receptions
It's a
out of
stat,
any
dude.
running back.
You're going to have an aneurysm, Greg. You need to
No,
calm yourself
I
down.
just that stat that he has 16 drops.
Paul,
in
I'm just trying to
7 years
get him worked
is
up.
hollow to me.
He gets. It's what he does when I text him. He gets so
Greg,
fired
this
up.
is-
I can feel it.
Just say
This is only
16
going to last
drops.
one more week. He's going to
It's
go
just
back to 10
ridiculous.
carries for 20 yards against
I'd
Cleveland,
rather-
and we'll be
I'd-
good again next week.
I'd rather have Singletary who has 37 yards on 10 carries.
Yeah, he'll probably play
But
all
he's-
17 games this year too. No, he averaged 5.9
No
yards per carry last
chance.
week.
Against one team,
Washington.
the worst team.
Let's
We
just
played
see.
Green Bay
Week
and
2. We
Atlanta.
actually have a decent. We actually have above average offensive line, so our line's good. Our line's good, and that's why we're going to win this week. That's why we're going to win this week.
break tackles then?
I'll move in. I'll move into because
Move in.
Yeah.
Go. You're
I'm
going to
going to move in and make my picks here. I think we are going to beat Cleveland. Watson isn't playing good. Our defense is going to get pressure on him, and they're not going to get much pressure on DJ because I think we have a good line. I think Andrew Thomas can shut Myles Garrett down. So, yeah, I think we are going to win this game. I think our defense is going to play well, and I think DJ's is going to play well, and the Giants will win. And I do agree with Paul in every other category. I do think Baltimore's going to win. I do think New Orleans is going to win, and I do think Cincinnati's going to win. I do think Washington's going to cover, though. I think they're going to keep it close. I think Baltimore-Dallas game is going to be good, but I think Baltimore will pull that out. They're not going to start out 0-3. And, Greg, I wouldn't be surprised if New Orleans put 50 on you because your defense sucks. I don't care how many points you score. You're not going to score more than them. And that's my picks for the week.
Now you just said Paul. You agree with Paul in every category. Paul said that Randy and the
Well-
Cowboys were going to sweep the internal competition. How do you feel about that?
Now, that I don't agree with.
Okay,
Okay.
just check.
Longest
Who from
touchdown.
the Giants are going to get it? Who from the Giants is going to get it?
I think QBR.
It's- no, there's no way QBR. There
I
is
think-
no way.
Please
I didn't
don't
say
say
that.
it.
I said
No.
QB. I think QBR
Okay.
for our team. I'm gonna have to go with Dak. I think Dak will have the best.
That's a good pick. Solid pick.
So you
Yeah.
do
Come
agree with Paul a
on.
little bit so far.
Yeah.
We're still with Paul.
I do think that.
Longest
enemy
touchdown
team
were
neighbors.
obviously Neighbors.
I think Neighbors is going. Yeah, I think Neighbors is going to win that, and I'll say longest
Sure.
touchdown. We'll go to Lamb. We'll go to Lamb also.
So real
They'll
quick,
get 2 out of 3.
what do you think the over-under for receptions for Neighbors is this week? What would you think? I mean, I don't know it. I'm just curious
I
how
don't
many
know.
receptions you think he's going to
Give
have.
him 6.
You know,
Yeah, I'd say
he's-
6.5. I'd say
he's
6.5
going
is the
against-
over under.
It's going against Ward,
Yeah,
and you
Yeah,
feel
but-
pretty confident about that.
Greg,
I
his
do.
targets
I think he's a
are gonna
superstar,
be,
dude.
his
It's gonna be-
targets will be 1,668 probably.
DJ's going to feed him. Remember, like Paul said, nobody drafted him. I said, why wouldn't you draft him? That's all they're going to be doing is trying to get him the rock. That's all they're going to be trying to do.
So I was just
He-
talking to
he-
Lewis from the other pod because we're going to be a double dinger tonight, and told him we were running over, and he was like, "Let me guess." All Chris keeps talking about is DJ, how good he is, and how Barkley sucks.
Well, let's
Oh, so
let,
I'd
let's
really
let
say-
Greg let's let Greg get this finished in here because we do got to wrap this one up.
All right, I'll be quick. So I'll go with longest touchdown predictions. I'm going to go with and that's receiving touchdowns, correct?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with CD Lamb. Unfortunately,
Well, hold on.
'cause AJ
The
is-
longest touchdown was any player.
any player.
Anybody.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it
My
could
bad.
be. It could be Hurts. It
Saquon.
could be.
Saquon, he's
could
going
be
to catch the
anybody.
ball.
Could be
I'm
defense.
going with Barkley. I'm going with Barkley.
He's going to drop it.
I'm
He's got to
gonna go with
catch the
Barkley.
ball.
Got the voodoo doll. That
He's-
voodoo doll gonna get
He's
it.
gonna run it though. That's what's gonna happen. I think he's upset and he's gonna break out and have another
Like break a
100+
leg.
yard game.
He's due for an
Yeah.
injury.
Yep. Due for an injury. You got it. QBR. I want it to be Jalen, but we all know that it probably won't be Jalen. So I'm gonna say Dak on that, and then wide receiver yards. I'm gonna go with CD as well. I'd love to
Dang.
win some points and have it my guys. I think Giants have no chance. I think the line set at 6.5 for a reason. And the fact that you wake up every Sunday morning and get excited for that team just melts my heart, buddy. It melts my heart.
That's my squad,
Um,
man.
I love it. I'm going with the Saints. I
I
don't think
rep
the
my
Eagles,
team on the classic conferences.
I don't think our team is good enough to beat the Saints. If by some miracle our defense shows up, then I'll get excited again because we're gonna have to score 45 to beat the Saints, and their defense is pretty good, and we're not doing that. So, and I think Washington is a sneaky cover. I think Cincy wins, but I think Washington covers. I think they're
Greg,
playing
we're
great.
agreeing
I
on
think they're
that.
playing
Look at that.
really good.
Anybody
We all
noticing
agreed.
that the Saints look good now that Sean Payton's gone?
Yeah, right. And I think the Ravens are going to beat the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to keep it close, but I think the Ravens are pissed. They're 0-2, and they had high hopes. And I think, honestly, I've heard some rumors about our boy Derrick Henry, and I think he's going to try to stick it to Jerry Jones because he was working out in Texas and expected a call, and he got nothing. And he wanted to be a Cowboy, from what I've heard.
Interesting.
So I
did not know
think
that.
I
yeah,
didn't either.
yeah, that's what I heard. Actually, I heard about it today.
He
I didn't
couldn't get it,
realize
man.
that.
He had to pay Dak $60 million.
I know.
He had to pay
Yeah,
CD all that money. He got to pay Parsons. He couldn't bring
You
Derrick Henry.
you would know about overplaying players. I know.
Seriously,
All right.
So-
I think that's the dumb shit.
You guys all have some overpaid players, so that is the dumb shit. But Greg, did you get your 3 player?
Yeah, you said you were gonna be quick.
You got
and
all
you
your
really
picks
weren't.
in?
yeah. All
Yeah,
my
he
picks
got
are-
him in. He got him in.
Okay. All right.
Go Birds.
Well, let's get out of here. We're gonna take a quick break and gonna record a baseball episode, I guess. But that is week 2. We'll be back next week with week 3. Thanks, everybody. Please
All right,
like and
boys.
subscribe.
Good luck later. Hey,
See you
Greg.
fellas next week.
Greg, catch you later, buddy.
See you guys.
You tried to make a pun there, but I don't think it actually caught.
It did.